Hey everybody, this is Mr. Marshall with another vocabulary review video, this one being for list number 9. So the first words that we're going to do are the starred words. So you can find these in your packet in that list, and of course they're right here as well. So the first one, justification, something that shows an action to be reasonable or necessary. So when you justify yourself, when you give reasons that it's supposed to happen, that it's necessary to happen, you are giving a justification. You're giving a good reason for it. Right? Next one, you have frequently, many times at short intervals. When you do something all the time, like studying, which I know you all do, you are studying frequently. You study every day. You do it frequently. I'm sure all of you do because you're awesome students. Exactly. Stop laughing. Instituted. To institute, to establish, organize, and set in operation. If you institute a new law, you establish it. If you institute a new organization, you are organizing it. You are setting it in operation. You're making it real. Primarily, chiefly, or mainly. The primary reason you do something is the main reason you do something. The primary goal for a level in a video game is the main goal. The secondary stuff's like extra. The primary is the main thing, the chief thing. Next, we got the two leaders. We have Lincoln, the first Republican president to be elected. Right? And he also issues the Emancipation Proclamation. He gives the Gettysburg Address. He was shot in the head. He loved top hats. Awesome guy. Right? One of our best presidents. He does a lot of really, really awesome things. He, of course, heads up the North, the Union. Then you have Jefferson Davis, the leader of the Confederacy. So he's the president of the Confederacy. All the southern states that left. Lincoln, head of the North. Right here we have a president of Lincoln and Davis. Next we have the commanders. These are the military guys. So Robert E. Lee, who commanded the South, brilliant general. This guy knew his stuff. From the very beginning of the war to when he gets beaten, he is head of the Southern Army, and he's just an amazing general. Right? Then you have Ulysses S. Grant. He heads the Union Army. He doesn't start the war in charge of the Northern armies. He kind of takes over later on. Takes the North a little while to find a good general. Right? That right there, Robert E. Lee, awesome, well-trimmed beard. Right? And then Ulysses S. Grant with a very strange haircut, comb-over thing, but very, very good general. Now we have the KansasNebraska Act. Okay. Now this act is where we get Bleeding Kansas from, because it's proposing that slavery be decided by the people that move there, by popular sovereignty. So the people that show up are like, hey, let's vote on free or slave. We can do that now. The KansasNebraska Act says so. And then they realize that if they kill the other person, they can't vote, and it turns into a huge fight. So KansasNebraska Act, very important. It does lead to a lot of killing. And then the popular sovereignty, we've talked a whole lot about, and I just explained it. But anyway, the people living in a territory vote to decide whether slavery would be permitted in that territory. So it's just like a popular vote. You show up on the voting day, you say yes, you say no. Slavery either exists or it's free. Right? And people do show up to, kill the people that are voting the way that they don't agree with. Then we have the Fugitive Slave Act. A part of the Compromise of 1850, slaves that had escaped in free states were still considered the property of their owners and were to be returned. This made the North livid. They were so incredibly angry because a lot of them didn't want slaves. They didn't want to participate in slavery. So now the Fugitive Slave Act is forcing people to hunt them down. Northern policemen had to help out with slave catchers. They didn't want to do this. So they posted a lot of posters like this, as well as some of the other ones that we've shown you, where fugitive slaves, attention, the slave hunters among us, they're planning an arrest tonight, go hide somewhere. And people had to, so they really did not like this act. It made so many people in the North angry. And then next we have to secede, a term used when a state leaves the Union. So if a state secedes, they go bye-bye. They try to do their own thing. They leave. Just like Texas is doing this little cartoon. See ya, and they take off. And Texas was one of the states that seceded and started the Confederacy. Right? And then you have the Confederate States of America. That's what they called themselves when they left. You have everybody in the South, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, all those states down there. They take off and they try to start their own separate country. Right? West Virginia splits off and stays with us. So do a couple other border states. They stay with the North. They still had slaves in some of those border states, but they fought with the North. They fought with the Union. And next we have the Emancipation Proclamation. This is smart. Lincoln was a genius for doing this, because it declared the slaves free, but only in the South, only in areas of rebellion. It didn't apply to the border states. It didn't apply to the northern states. Lincoln was so smart in doing that because it keeps the North happy because they don't like slavery. It keeps the border states happy because it doesn't affect them. They can keep their slaves. This proclamation has no effect on them. And it focuses the entire country on the South and makes the Civil War a moral issue about slavery. Really, really smart. Very, very well timed by him as well. And then you have the writs of habeas corpus. The right to know the charge for which an accused person is being held in custody. During times of war, it was suspended for security reasons. And Lincoln gets rid of it. The whole right to a speedy trial, that's the writs of habeas corpus. So when that's gone, you can be thrown in jail and just sit there for years until your trial comes. And who knows when it's going to be. And they did that in a lot of different wars. Right here we have a map. This shows with the Emancipation Proclamation, it only affected those southern states, Tennessee, Texas, South Carolina. It didn't affect the border states, Delaware and Maryland. Really, really smart. And once again, writs of habeas corpus, right to a speedy trial. In times of war, man, certain rights get suspended. That's gone. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys study frequently. And I hope you do well on the quiz. Have a good one.